Good morning, everyone. It's Saturday, which means it's time for yet another Salty Saturday morning. I am your host, Mr. Kadish. Get it right. And I'm going to introduce my panel in a second, but I just want to say that something terrible has happened. The woke mind virus has infiltrated the Salty Saturday panel, and 3 of our regulars are no longer here for this episode today, including Brian, who's busy off being queer somewhere, Tom, who's busy eating cereal, and Dutch Butters, who's busy saving the world. But I have wonderful replacements for all of them, including Culture Casino, the birthday boy himself. Culture, you just turned 85 yesterday. How do you look so good for being 85?
I'm 55. That's how. Somebody's off by 30 years, which I appreciate. I love the humor in that. If I look this good at 85, I'll look just like I did at 45.
Well, you're really rocking the Gandalf look. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And you just rated our stream, so I appreciate you for that.
I do that every week. This is my favorite show to listen to while I'm working in the garden or the greenhouse. So
nice. And how's the boss doing?
Fantastic. We were just reminiscing about Vegas. So yeah, she's great. She's great. We're doing really well, and she's getting ready to wrap up and retire here pretty soon. So I think we're both going to enjoy not working for the man anymore.
Nice.
Or in her case, the woman. Oops. Salty Saturday. By the way, I love that. That is a great logo. I love it.
Thank you.
It's very original.
We paid a couple $1,000s to get it designed.
Yeah.
So we got to make use of it somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like it.
But welcoming him back to the show, it's Mr. Foulball himself. Matt, good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Matt.
Now, Mr. Foulball can only be with us for an hour because he has to go pretend to be rich for a while and golf today.
Fake it till you make it, man.
Yeah. Wow. But he's taken time out of his busy faking being rich schedule to be here on the show. Really appreciate it. Matt, your channel, I love your channel. It's one of my guilty pleasures. You do a lot of sketches and live streams and podcasts and fun stuff. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your channel?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's called Foulball Productions. I've been doing it for a few years. I do the live stream I do steadily is every Tuesday night at 6 called the MFR Podcast. My name's Matt Fowler, for those who don't know. So it's a clever play on words, and cover everything. Kind of been focusing a lot more on politics recently, just because that has just been dominating the news. And, that was what I found really interesting. So I talk about that every Tuesday night for a few hours, live chat and all that. And then I do videos on the subject. So my past few videos have all been political. I did 2 on Marjorie Taylor Greene, 1 on Nick Fuentes, a few on Dave Smith and Douglas Murray, and so on and so forth. So just kind of these, I find it so fascinating the way the media has shifted in the past few years. And really, news and cutting edge conversations all happening on YouTube and the internet. So I find it really interesting to talk about it and signal boost and give takes. So that's mostly what I do on Foulball right now.
Spoken like a true fake rich guy. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm going to slip right in. I'm going to trick them. They're going to give me all the money.
There you go.
You know who isn't fake or rich is the Allfather himself, OMB Reviews. And he's not political unless you count pineapple on pizza being a political topic. But
and candy corn. You get
a candy. I will tell you every year. All right, because you're right. I am poor. I am a teacher, so that is kind of the state of being for anyone who is a teacher, especially in private schools. And every year I bring candy for Halloween for the kids, and I have to bring candy corn because there's always a large segment this year who love it, and some were actually choosing candy corn over chocolate. So it is a real thing, and candy corn is delicious. It's not my favorite, but I do like it.
I am one of those who chooses candy corn over chocolate. I've always been a fan of candy corn.
Not over chocolate, but I do like it, yes.
Just like I am a fan of pineapple on pizza.
No, see, now that is too far, okay?
Yeah, way too far.
See, you were right there, and now you've crossed into heresy, and I can't allow that. It's not allowed, no.
So you're saying I'm half right. But
candy corn on pizza.
No.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, to show that the only things
that's too far culture.
Individually, I have no issue with pineapple, but pineapple on pizza, that's the issue. That's the problem.
Look, the only thing that survives an apocalypse, aside from rad roaches, is candy corn.
And Twinkies.
I mean, maybe ding dongs if they're wrapped properly. But
Anything with a lot of preservatives, really. But culture, I have to ask you: Are you older than Gary?
Gary and I are very close in age. He's slightly older than me.
Okay.
But I feel like outside of going to prison, our life experiences were a little similar. So
that might actually be why you look so much better than he does.
Gary looks great. He's my hero right now. He was able to drop and keep the weight off. So don't be mean to my buddy Gary. I love that guy.
I have to.
I will say this, Odin. I used to be just pineapple on pizza, pineapple and pepperoni. But ever since my run-in with culture, I now add jalapenos.
Jalapenos, yeah.
It is the holy trinity of pizza toppings.
Wait, you would do just pineapple and pepperoni?
Yep.
See, I didn't find it offensive until you said that. Those two sound so antithetical.
You get the sweet and salty, man.
No, you're ruining the pepperoni.
Delicious.
You're ruining the pepperoni. That's what you're doing.
It's already salty. It's cheese.
Dude, Hawaiian pizza, jalapeno, and pineapple are that is the true trifecta of flavor for sure.
You just need a new
Welcome to
name.
Flavor
Just don't
Town.
call it pizza. Call it some
Population U, bro. Anyway, all right.
Yes.
All right. Anyway.
Listen to the fake rich guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, I was going to interject actually in defense of pineapple that there is a classic Italian style pizza that's gorgonzola and pear. And that's like a fruit. So does everyone find that quite as offensive?
Dude, as long as you don't put fish on your pizza, we can talk.
The Italians would disagree.
But actually, I wouldn't put it on my pizza, but at least there's history for fish on pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True story.
Not the like pineapple on pizza. Like literally the devil came into the world just to put pineapple on pizza. That's how bad it is.
Did you guys ever see the Iron Chef episode where they made fish ice cream?
Oh.
I will say there's a place called Salt and Straw. It's in like all the kind of like progressive cities on the West Coast. But they do some wacky stuff that really works out. Like they did like a Thanksgiving dinner, like ice cream. And I know it sounds insane, but it was so good. They made like some ice cream with like onion stock and turkey stock. And I don't know why, but it was great.
Wasabi ice cream is good. I actually like that. So, but I wouldn't imagine putting fish.
Yeah.
But I'm weird. I'm one of those guys. I like to take the like properly fried up peppered bacon and dip it in warm melted chocolate. That's a treat.
But it's just funny because like the greatest Iron Chef to ever live, Miyamoto, he's the one who made the fish ice cream.
That's crazy.
With his stuff.
Fish ice cream.
Yeah, It was insane.
What kind of fish?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. But speaking of awesomeness, guys, we got some super chats to get to real quick.
Hey,
Mark, member for 21 months. Woke content will never take away my Star Trek memories from 1972 to 2005. I agree. Star Trek just keeps getting worse and worse, more and more woke. But at least there was that brief time period for 30 years where it was perfectly fine. And we got Major Chai Chai, who gifted 5 Salty Nerd Podcast memberships. Thank you so much, Major Chai Chai. And the queen of gifted memberships, Jillian H., who gifted 5 Salty Nerd Podcast memberships. We've already hit our goal, guys. Already hit 10.
Great.
Good stuff. And Brian's boyfriend, John Yulden, for £4.99.
I like him. He's a Brit.
Happy birthday, Culture. Have a great show, guys.
Thank you, sir. And John, I'm sorry I missed your last invite, buddy, but much appreciated. Good to see you.
Yes, indeed. John Yulden, good friend of the show, and he's also a regular on The Brain Show, which, oddly enough, will not be premiering today because Ryan has a bad case of the gays, and so he's just not going to be doing it today. But hopefully he will recover soon and be back to his regular insanity. Instead, we recommend you guys check out Mephisto's movie reviews, the Real McCoy podcast, which we will be directing you to immediately after the show is over. So be sure to check that out. Also, join our Discord over at saltynerddiscord.com. We talk about video games and movies and all types of fun stuff over there. And we're still trying to hit our 25K subscriber goal. We were at 21K now, so just 4,000 people to go. Easy number, guys. Easy. You guys do it in your sleep, except for the fake rich guy. He's still struggling on that type of thing.
One day.
But you can buy.
By the time I'm Culture's age, I'll be there.
Yeah. By the time you're 85, you'll have enough money to be able to buy your subscribers. And
indeed. Exactly. I'll just sell out to China.
Well, everyone else is. You might as well.
Hey, go talk to Congress. They'll tell you it's a good plan.
No, let's go.
Yeah, and of course, quick highlight of our leaderboard. Scotty Dub, he's been sitting pretty for like the entire of 2025. So good on you, Scotty. Made you say butts as well. Mexican Iron Man, still our most consistent donator.
Based.
Although like he kind of pops in and out recently. I don't see him here for the whole show. So he might be moving on. Might be
Was
going
he
to different
flying
streams.
recently, I believe?
Flying to his hidden bunker somewhere.
Because I know he took a picture of the pilots. He was like, "Look, non-DEI hires for my flight." I was like, "Oh."
He needs to change his name to Mexican Wick or something like that. He's literally becoming like a paramilitary super soldier.
He is actually. That training he's taken. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Ooh. The Nada Baba Yaga is what we'll call him.
Yeah.
Not a Baba Yaga. And of course, our most consistent gifters, Jillian H., Major Chai Chai, and Eric Winberg. Guys, thank you so much for your support. You guys are always awesome. Appreciate y'all. All right. Are you guys ready to talk about some stuff no one else cares about?
Yes, always. Every week.
Yeah, this is my favorite show for that. So
awesome. Awesome. Well, no one else talks about stuff no one cares about quite like we do. So the first thing no one cares about is how based Sydney Sweeney is. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Sydney Sweeney recently did an interview with GQ, not the magazine, but like their media division or something like that. And it was kind of funny because the host here, this super attractive, not at all cringy woman, sat down with her and basically gave her a opportunity to apologize for her American Eagle advertising campaign by saying that the idea that white people have superior genes is offensive. And so she was like, in this political climate, would you like to apologize for appearing in that ad? And Sydney Sweeney basically said no. She looked her dead in the eye with that. In fact, I'll show her reaction again. She looked this woman dead in the eye and basically said, if I want to say something, I will say it. And she left it at that. But man, if she wasn't hot enough before then, if she wasn't a 10 out of 10, she's now turned it up to 11, in my opinion. But I wanted to hear your guys' take on this. How easy is it to just destroy these narratives that these wokies come up with? Mr. Foulball, let's start with you. What's your take on that?
Well, my favorite part was the end when she asked her about Trump. And, you know, that's the here's your opportunity to show your allegiance to us and shit all over the guy we hate so much. And she just was like, no, that was crazy. That was surreal. And just ended the whole line of dialogue. There was nothing to say because it wasn't an endorsement. It wasn't an insult. It is still the president. It was an accurate, like it was a realistic sentiment. And it was just so graceful. It was, you know, she didn't get flustered. She didn't get like upset. Like you could see her eyes. She was a little bit like, are you trying to do this bullshit? But she handled it like a total pro. Like a lot of us, a lot of people on the right, you know, could probably take a lesson from just how smooth that was.
Yeah,
indeed. What was your take on it, Culture?
Same. It was very similar. I loved it, you know, and again, the way that the moment that happened and she said it's surreal, I was like, she's not going to give him any kind of answer. But see, I think she had a little bit of practice before this interview because of that Power of Women bologna sausage that Variety hosted, like, you know, a couple days before. I think she'd probably been peppered by people with questions about her good genes.
Yeah, you're talking about the most amazing dress ever designed.
Yeah, with very, very little fabric. There was no overuse of fabric in that dress.
Yes, that was quite the Cinderella at the ball dress.
Indeed, yes.
Fairy tale, magical.
Yeah, 16-year-old me was very appreciative.
Shit, I think 40-year-old me was very appreciative.
Yeah, I was going to say every man in America was very appreciative.
Odin's upset.
Except for Odin. He's like, I only have eyes for my wife. And
exactly.
So, all right, Odin, what was your take on this interview? Were you surprised at like how well she kind of like threw this reporters kind of like woke questions back at her?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like in the position where I think it's a bit overblown because I think like the way it's being presented by a lot of people is as if she was like, no, I'm not going to answer your question. Like, screw you. Like but instead it's actually more impressive than that because
Yeah.
of how subtle she was. Like it again, just shows you how an actual actor in Hollywood should approach any question related to politics, related to anything that could split their fan base, right? Like no, I'm just not going to actually directly address your question, and I'm going to answer it in the most civil way possible. And I think that is what's most impressive about it, is that she showed restraint in an era where so many Hollywood celebrities do not show restraint. And kudos to her.
Yeah, she did not Rachel Zegler of the moment. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really think is she must have read Marshall McLuhan's books to understand how to be media cool, because that was the exact response that if you were being media cool you would give. So she was great. I think your observations are top notch.
What's amazing about this clip are the memes that are coming from it.
Yeah.
Like this clip is being memed to hell, and they're brilliant. They're so brilliant. I think that the GQ people probably didn't expect this to happen.
No.
But basically, Sydney Sweeney's kind of like dead-eye stare at her has become the poster child for a reaction to anything ridiculously woke that people do or say now going forward. It's absolutely hilarious. And Culture, you make a good point. Like, you have someone like Rachel Zegler who's out there and she's being dismissive and smug and snide about like the movies she's promoting, and she's derivative towards people who vote differently from her and think differently from her outside of her little New York bubble. And then you have Sydney Sweeney, and she's taking the what's the guy from Kiss's name? Gene Simmons approach, where he's like, stay ambiguous so that you appeal to the broadest possible spectrum of fans possible. And as long as you don't piss people off, like, you will be able to thrive in the entertainment industry. And so like Sydney Sweeney seems to be taking that middle ground where she's like, I'm not political. I don't really care about this stuff. I just want to look good and make a lot of money. And I'm like, you can't fault her for that. Really
And there's
can't.
something refreshing about that kind of honesty. You
Yeah.
know, when she was talking about taking like the campaign and like the money, it was just so like, it's just so human. You know, there was that big controversy a few weeks ago with all those comedians who went over to Saudi Arabia and like perform for
Riyadh. The Riyadh Comedy
Riyadh.
Festival. Yeah.
And there's a lot of people took a lot of backlash. And I think like, you know, Bill Burr, he may never recover because of how poorly he's handling it. But a lot of the other comics were like, yeah, man, I got kids. It was $1 million. What do you want from me? And it was like, fair. Like, I don't know that, you know, I feel like you should never criticize the United States of America again. But like, I get it. Like, when you're honest about it, it's like, okay, I can handle that. But when you try to obfuscate, how do you say that word? When you try to, yeah, that's the word. When you try to like do that, it's like people are like, just tell. We know you're lying. We think we're stupid. We've been listening to you for 20 years. So it is nice to hear someone just be like upfront and genuine.
And it is funny how like Jennifer Lawrence came out recently and said like any type of political endorsement's a bad idea, because like she endorsed Kamala Harris and she was like, nobody fucking cared, and it just hurt my brand appeal with, you know, people on the right side of the aisle. And she's like, going forward, I'm never going to do like a political endorsement again. And I don't think other celebrities should do it either. In fact, you even saw it with George Clooney, where he wrote that big op-ed about like Biden, and then Hunter Biden comes out and freaking trashes him, and he's like, okay, I'm staying out of this. You know, so like there's just nothing beneficial for celebrities to get political, it seems. And Sydney Sweeney seems to recognize that. And I think that's one of the big reasons why she's like, you know, so popular right now. I mean, obviously it's because of she wears dresses like she did at that one event, but on the same token, like she plays it cool, you know, like you gotta respect that. Game recognizes game, guys.
Let's go.
I don't know if you're familiar with that word.
I'm from the streets as well, Matt. So, you know, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, before you make your
fake
fake millions. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll be like Jay-Z or 50 Cent.
Yeah. You're gonna be out on the golf course closing multi-$100 deals and all that good stuff.
Multi-$100 deals.
Yeah, absolutely. I made 1.2 thousand this year. Yeah.
Exactly. Guys, I got a YouTube channel. I'm a YouTuber. Like, oh yeah.
I got a media empire.
Exactly. We can barely afford the beer at this country club. But
yeah, I'm losing money on my StreamYard subscription, but it's okay.
That's right. Oh man, StreamYards has gone up in price, man.
I don't even pay for it. It's crazy. Yeah, I was like, no.
Well, you are the fake rich guy, so of course
that's true.
You don't pay for it.
All around a budget, baby.
Get the brand deals, baby.
Let's go.
All right. Speaking of deals, guys, did you know that Predator Badlands is out and that people have seen it and they have opinions on it. Now, I haven't seen it, but after watching Prey, I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch Predator Badlands. Apparently, it's a slapstick comedy that they didn't tell anyone about, but the people on the panel who have seen it, I want to hear your takes on it. So first of all, we're going to start with Odin. Odin, what was your take on Predator Badlands?
So honestly, it put me to sleep several times. I had to like go back and like try to rewatch it several times over because of just like how boring it was. But the biggest issue that I have with the actual film itself is that it's a terrible Predator movie. If I wanted what is supposed to be like one of the most terrifying strategic beings, monsters to ever exist, right, in cinema, if I wanted it to be able to speak and have a backstory with a dad and a brother, and be approachable, I mean, again, I wouldn't want that because that's not what anything is. Like, it's like, are we now just 2 steps away from the xenomorphs? I mean, we kind of got a little bit of this, right, in Alien Earth, but we're just 2 seconds away now from the xenomorphs having a language, talking to each other, and then also having us try to associate with them. So that to me is the biggest problem that I have with it, is that it's trying to humanize a predator. It's trying to make a predator relatable instead of just making it this mysterious, very well versed in all combat areas thing that hunts people and hunts things down, and that's all that it ends up doing. Instead, is trying to make it more relatable, and then you have this whole like buddy cop journey basically between him and this android synthetic, and they try to make that a whole storyline as well. So there's issues with the story in general, but the biggest issue I have is that it's not a good Predator movie, and anyone who says that it is, I question a lot of things.
Well, there's only ever been one good Predator movie.
This is very true.
Honest.
This is very true.
It's just another in a long line, but I know Culture has a lot to say about this movie. So Culture, I'd love to hear your take on it.
It is the worst synthetic in Predator rom-com you've ever seen. The romance element of it is not absent. They feminized the crap out of this movie. It was not made for Predator fans. So any white male over 25 is not going to recognize this as a Predator movie. And second, while there was stories there, which there were, and two of the storylines were almost satisfying. But I could not overcome the introduction of a new weapon type, the Instagib, that got thrown in, and this is not a monster versus monster movie that I was anticipating it to be. So as Odin already said, this isn't a Predator movie, and they had the wrong audience in mind. And when somebody ever points out and can track down 5 or 6 of the modern audience, I'd like them to show me those people. Because again, I think this was as a movie, it wasn't extremely woke, but it was woke adjacent, and I got too much information about a synthetic partnership than I got about anything that the Predator would be doing, trying to prove themselves because they've been ostracized from their clan. You know what I mean? So, and I can't even say the name of the Predator species, the Yuntas. Was that offensive to anybody? Did I say something bad? It was terrible.
That part especially felt like a carryover from Prey, where it's like now all of a sudden they're trying to turn it into like now there's like a Native American tribe aspect. This is an alien movie. You don't want them to be relatable. You don't want to humanize them. You don't want to romanticize them. Some of the best art I've seen around this has been the cuddle relationship between the synthetic and the ugly looking Predator that doesn't look like a Predator. So,
well, speaking of not being relatable, Mr. Foulball, I know in your fake portfolio you have a lot of Disney stock, and but you're too busy day trading to get screeners for movies such as Predator Badlands.
Crypto's going to rebound. Okay, buy the dip, guys.
Exactly. Not financial advice, but so what's your take on Predator Badlands? Because you and I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't seen it, but I want to go ahead and disagree with both Odin and Culture, because I've always wanted to see an origin story for the Rancor. What's he feeling? We don't know.
We got an origin story for the Rancor. It was in Jurassic World Afterbirth.
That's true.
Well, but I've just always wanted to see him grow up on the mean streets of Mos Eisley. I mean, we see the giant space worm on the asteroid, but what's his deal? What are his politics? I bet he's got a lot of opinions, and we need to know about them. That's my feeling.
They don't like the Orange Man.
Pro Empire, very pro Empire.
Yeah.
It's like the Empire feeds me, so that's what I go for. But Odin, I wanted to ask you because I know that Shadiversity came out and basically said that he loved Predator Badlands. So, what was your take on Shad's take?
So I still have not actually watched his full take. I haven't seen his review, and then my wife is sick, and so I wasn't able to stay on the show last night either to actually listen to his take then either. All I need to know though is that he said he liked it, to know that I can immediately discount it, and that again I question whether or not he is a fan of the original Predator film or not. The one argument I guess I can see as a possibility of someone trying to make is, well, you can only get the same movie so many times. Like, how many times do you need the Predator? But again, that's why Predator was created. That's the kind of the purpose of Predator. And there's a better way to do a backstory without having to give it a language with a brother and a father, and then again try to literally humanize the characters to such a degree that it loses any of its scariness. And I think that is not what they did in that film, and it honestly it's lore destroying in many ways.
Culture, what's your take on Shad's take?
I was flabbergasted. I was like, I thought we watched two different movies. That's my take. My take is we definitely watched two different films, because like I said, there wasn't a lot that what I would consider redeemable in this, and yet he found a good movie in there. So, inconceivable is an interesting word.
Just tell me this:
Yeah,
better or worse than The Predator?
Oh, The Predator?
Yeah.
This thing was worse than To Catch a Predator.
Actually, I have a straight answer on that one. This is by far worse than The Predator, because at least in The Predator, the Predator's doing Predator things.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, no, that's a better answer.
And I will be one. And here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I will defend The Predator, but it's not because I think it's a good Predator film. I have the same issues with that film because I think that's a bad Predator movie too, but it's a good Shane Black movie. It's kind of like with the Iron Man 3 stuff. People hated that movie when it came out because they were like, man, what in the heck is this? Like, this doesn't really feel like it. I was like, it's a great Shane Black movie. It's just not a good Iron Man movie. So that's how I am with The Predator. But even just based off of like seeing the Predator do Predator things, you see a lot of that more in The Predator than you do in this crap.
Odin, you obviously don't have your facts in front of you because it is not a good Shane Black movie. They're far better Shane Black movies.
Oh, I mean,
in fact,
I would not put it at the top of the list of Shane Black movies.
Hey, Odin, can I ask you a question? Because you and I kind of cover the same stuff and talk about the same stuff for the same reason. Do you think we can throw this garbage at Trachtenberg's feet?
well, wasn't his original concept for this movie the Predator basically fighting Nazis in World War II? like it was basically like the first Predator movie, but instead of American Special Forces, it was like a Nazi platoon, and the Predator was like,
okay, yeah, I actually probably would have liked that then. Yeah,
that would have been better than Prey, which was his last Predator movie.
Because we know what Prey was, and he likely had a lot more control over that than necessarily this film. I would say that it probably was a lot from him. Than I think we can absolutely put this at his feet.
Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, I didn't hate Prey. I thought Prey was a pretty decent movie. It wasn't great, but like it was way better than I was expecting it.
I would agree with that. I thought I was going to go in hating it, and I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to. But I also didn't like it either.
Yeah, but it wasn't as heavy on the girl boss stuff as I was expecting it to be. It was like basically there were like Indian warriors in her tribe, and they all got fucking obliterated by the Predator. And he kind of underestimated her, which is why she was able to.
The key to everything. Yeah. Or what?
Exactly. Exactly. But this one, I think the Predator design was a big problem with this one. He doesn't look. He looks like a I don't know, douchey Predator, essentially.
It's so
not cool.
unintimidating. It's so lame. The second you see it, it looks like, how when they do like photoshops of people and they make their head really big and then tiny little face, like that's what he looked like. It was just like, what is that? It's so off. And it's like, why does he kind of look like a black guy? What are you doing? Like, what has happened?
But that's the other thing too, right? Because part of what made the Predator scary was when he kept his mask on most of the time. And then when you have that reveal, you're like, oh goodness. But you're not supposed to see that the whole time, right? That's not something that's supposed to be on screen the entire time. And so that's why when you have it in this one, you're like, no, I shouldn't be seeing this the entire time. It takes away the whole mystique. It takes away everything. As I said, it takes away everything that made Predator as cool as a concept as it was. And that's why it's just a terrible Predator film.
Yeah, but the idea behind it, where like you have basically this like really awful planet where it's kind of like the Predator's training grounds.
Monster
like,
Planet.
Yeah, Monster Planet. Like that's kind of a cool concept. I just don't think they did it correctly.
They definitely didn't follow through on it. It just felt like a really bad like escape room after escape room concept. So,
well, you know what we do follow through on here, Culture, our super chats. We've got Mephisto's movie reviews for 15 shekels. After the show on the Real McCoy podcast, we are covering one of the best football movies ever, Any Given Sunday. I don't know if you can consider Any Given Sunday one of the best football movies ever. That was when that was peak. Was it Oliver Stone cocaine?
The editing in that movie is a lot, and some of the design choices, like the team colors, are vicious on your eyes. Like there was like the New York Knights with like orange and red, and it's it's like horrifying.
But I kid you not, $30 million of that budget went towards drugs for that movie. Because they
like
were
the
shooting,
concept.
They were filming in Miami. Well, it was based on a book, I believe. But they were filming in Miami, and so Oliver Stone was just like fucking partying.
Let's go get that pure, that good.
Al Pacino, what was his name? Jamie Foxx, all those guys. Yeah,
I think it's aged better than it was when it came out. Like I kind of like it now. I appreciate it now, and it's kind of interesting to see like a gritty take on the NFL. Like get rid of all the veneer, get rid of all the marketing. Like just see it kind of ugly and cold. But yeah, the editing alone makes that movie very hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, but I think one of the best football movies ever, obviously The Longest Yard, Rudy, The Replacements.
Remember the Titans?
Oh, that's a good one too.
Let's go.
Yeah, way better than Any Given Sunday. So shame on you, Mephisto. Shame on you. All right. Eric Winberg gifted one Salty Nerd podcast membership, his obligatory one every single show. Eric, like clockwork, comes in, one gifted Salty Nerd podcast membership. Thank you so much. And we got Kohlhauser Ara for $5 Canadian, which is like $100 US, which is great. Hail, gentlemen. Predator and Predator 2 is good enough for me. Actually, I meant like 50 cents US.
Okay,
is that more accurate? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Gotcha. I was getting my Australian dollars mixed up.
Yes.
So, hail, gentlemen. Predator and Predator 2 is good enough for me. Predator 2 is definitely underrated. Like, I love, Predator 2 is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
I was talking about this last night. I think it's kind of overrated. Like for me, it's too long. Like it drags. It just kind of takes forever to get there. And they made the sin that made the Predator and a movie like Jaws so iconic is that they showed the monster too much. You know, it's like you see him too often, and then you start to see like his fingers bend like in the costume, and now you're like, oh, it breaks the illusion. Whereas before you barely saw him, like he was in the woods, you know what I mean? He was out there, he was so you didn't really get to see all that. And then Predator 2, it's like you're hanging out with him. And to me, it was too much. It's like, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade, but I hear people and I want to love it, but I just watch it. I'm like, I don't, this is just not that good.
Well, there's actually like a comic book version of Predator 2 that came out before the movie did. And the comic book version is actually like fucking badass. It's like, it goes hard.
That's
but
cool.
I mean, with Predator 2, you got like voodoo street gangs. You got freaking, like subway cars. You got Gary Busey out there. There's so much cool stuff in that movie.
The armorer in that movie had a lot of fun because the guns are great.
Yeah,
they're so ridiculous. Like, what's that pistol he has with like the giant scope? But it's like a completely ridiculous.
It's like a Desert Eagle 50 cal. Yeah,
it could like shoot like a mile. It's completely impractical, but it was awesome.
And then another $2 from Kohlhauser Ara. Van Damme was a better Predator than Badlands, and he wasn't even in the movies. So there you go. And Kohlhauser Ara for another $2. Wildcats is a great football movie. Gotta love Goldie Hawn. Like I think Wildcats is actually one of my wife's favorite movies to watch on like a lazy Saturday or something like that. But real quick before we move on, Culture, Odin, do you think that Shad liked Predator Badlands because he's a Kiwi? They just have different taste in movies on that side of the world.
Oh, I'm surprised that you said Kiwi. I think it's because he is a Twilight fan, and I think that says a lot about him.
Oh, that's right. He loves Twilight. That makes sense. So the romantic storyline definitely he fell for.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's just a shipper. He just loves shipping stuff.
Because then he can go get lost in his AI art and then he can ship the hell out of it. Yeah,
and fight someone with a sword, medieval sword.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
This is one redeeming quality.
He had a
Guys-
really nice sword on the show yesterday. That was a nice sword.
It was.
Guys, speaking of redemption, apparently Superman has saved Warner Brothers. I was hoping Brian would be here for this discussion because we know sparks fly whenever we bring up Superman and Brian's around. But there's this article in the Hollywood Reporter where they talk about Superman supercharges Warner Brothers earnings, but linear TV struggles to push company loss. Now, what's interesting about this is if you bother to read beyond the headline, it actually kind of attributes Warner Brothers revenue to all of their movie releases, not just Superman, but it said like, Weapons, The Conjuring, Last Rite, stuff like that, saw revenues soar by 24% to $3.3 billion for Warner Brothers Studios. So their movie and TV division did really well, even though it was still down in terms of like the TV segment. But what's interesting about this article is basically, so Warner Brothers released their third quarter earnings, and essentially, basically their streaming has grown, but like it's kind of stagnant revenue wise. Their movies did really well, but their TV is kind of declining because ad sales are on like the decline. So long story short, like they're up on the chopping block to get acquired by some other studio in Hollywood. But at the same time, they're kind of like, well, we had a good year, but it wasn't all that good. And so like, we're just kind of like treading water and kind of sticking to the plan. But it seems like the position of Hollywood Reporter was that Superman was Warner Brothers' saving grace because it was one of the most popular aspects of their earnings for this quarter. So I want to hear Odin's take on this. Odin, did Superman really save the day?
No, it didn't. And I'm so tired of people still pushing this fake narrative that has no merit to it whatsoever, okay? Because theatrically, Superman was a flop.
Yes.
It did not make its money back. It was at $51 million in the hole from its theatrical release. Now, if you want to go into VOD sales, if you want to go into Blu-ray 4K sales, if you can show those records and show that it accounts for well over $51 million of revenue, okay, please be my guest. But the only information that we have available to us is the budgets that they put out there, which again, I'm still not fully on board with as far as buying their legitimacy, because it's hard for me to imagine that on a tax form, you put your estimated budget and then you underspend that by well over $100 million. That sounds a little bit off to me, at least according to the reported budgets. But even taking the numbers that they gave us, even taking all those things into account, it's still a $50+ million loser for Warner Brothers. I think you're right, though. It's the other films that actually did make profit theatrically and then added even more profits after the fact. Those are the films that have actually driven Warner Brothers' success, so much so that it's the only major studio this year to make any profit at the box office, especially to any real extent. I think the last time I did the calculations on it, rough estimates, it was at over $100 million in net profits. So it might have like billions of revenue. Those aren't profits, though. That's not accounting for how much money they spent on their budgets, how much they spent on their marketing costs, and also making up for losers like Superman, because they did have a couple of losers this year. They also had to make up for, of course, one of the biggest ones being that Leonardo DiCaprio film.
One battle after another, the wokest film of the year. And they entered that in the comedy the comedy category for the Grammy. No, the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Golden Globes, yeah. I
think they said
ridiculous.
it lost $100 million.
At least.
As of the last calculation in my charting, it's at $142 million in losses.
Yeah.
So basically you're saying Hollywood Reporter is full of caca.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And again,
turkey.
Its headline is really the biggest problem, right? Because if it instead but it can't, because they know Superman is going to get attention because people are talking. Like, again, online engagement does not equate to financial success. This is something that for some reason people don't understand. It's like, do we have to remind people about what happened with Morbius? There was a lot of conversation online about Morbius, and yet that film was a big loser, and the studio didn't get that. And when they re-released it and nobody saw it, that was another reminder. Okay, yes, just because
Odin,
online.
get your facts in front of you.
I do.
It was Morbin time. It was
Morbin time. It really was. And look, my bigger problem is that even if you add in the international numbers and you're looking at, the numbers, that the numbers puts out, $616 million global is not a good number. It's not, for as much as the Superman film costs and the production, beyond the production costs. I mean, again, when we are presented with from the trades or anybody that publishes a budget, that's the number they started with. That is not the spend on making the thing. And as, Odin already pointed out, why would you spend less than you were going to be given as the budget? It's almost always far more. And if you look at Disney, of course, this isn't Disney, but Predator's Badlands Disney, so they're going to lose a ton of money on that. Very excited. But 616 million isn't there. That doesn't get you $1 of profit. So it's incredibly misleading. Their most successful film in 2025 still going to be Minecraft, and it fell just short of $1 billion global. It domestically, it was over $400 million. So when they got through the domestic dollars, they were at really close to break even. So I think if you're looking for that film that kind of helped put them over the top this year and look profitable, it was Minecraft, because there was nothing else on Warner Brothers list of films. Even Sinners was okay. It actually may have made money. I'm not sure what you tracked on that.
Yeah,
but
it did, but it made very small profit.
Yeah, it barely made money. But everything else was somebody else is making. We spent the least amount on it that we could. Like F1, that was made by not them. I think that wasn't that an Apple product.
Yeah, so F1's a tricky one just because it was produced by Apple, and then the distribution was picked up by Warner Brothers, and so they probably made money off of that one. We just have no idea, because that's stuff we'd never get access to as the distribution deal.
But the only thing that made money this year for Warner Brothers were horror films and Minecraft. It was that's the only profit I could find on their ledger. Mickey 17 was the biggest black hole they could have jumped into. With the Pattinson, the sparkly Batman guy, the Twilight guy. Probably Brian would know everything about that.
Did Chad love that movie?
So did Shad. I probably. But it was hot garbage. Alto Nights was an enormous flop. They spent money on that really old ancient actor who was in a football movie you guys talked about a minute ago.
Yeah, De Niro.
De Niro, yeah. And there was nothing else out there that was good. The fact that they didn't dive into re-releases like they should have this year to fill out their film cycle was very disappointing, because other studios did. The other thing that I've also found surprising, and Odin, correct me if I'm wrong, shouldn't Back to the Future have made far more money than it did a weekend or two ago when they re-released it for the anniversary?
I mean, those are always difficult because it's a re-release, it's a 40th anniversary, and I honestly think that they do too much with that movie. And I love that film, but they've done re-releases for every anniversary, and I think that over time you just get less and less and less, right? Because especially now people have bigger screens and at home and can watch these things at home, and that's why for me it's I own several versions of it, but every time there's a new 40th anniversary edition, I'm like, I just got the 35th anniversary. What's
what's new?
Stop making me spend money on this. I love it, but stop making me spend more money on the same product.
Well, okay, so speaking to that, I think that they're going to have problems in the future with the re-releases now, because a lot of people have physical copies.
Well,
and
real quick, Culture. I want to read you guys a paragraph from this article real quick.
Okay.
So their strategy, apparently, when it comes to the movies and stuff, this is what they quoted. This 4-part strategy where we really use tent poles and then mini tent poles, whether it's Lord of the Rings, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, that we used to use the tent poles that we have that are known all around the world, and then mini tent poles, which might be like Gremlins and Goonies and Practical Magic, and then original fare, which with a lot of discipline is very strong. And they go on to say that they haven't used Harry Potter in 14 years, Lord of the Rings in over a decade, et cetera, et cetera. But they have this strategy where they have their tent poles and then their slightly lesser popular tent poles that they're kind of basing their green lighting and movie reviews around. So I want to go to the fake rich guy on the panel who has more fake wealth than any of us.
Sure.
Matt, what's your take on that strategy of basically hey, we know that we've got tent poles and mini tent poles that we're going to base our movie release schedule around. Do you think that's a winning strategy for them?
I don't know. I think, you see like what happened with Superman, right? Like pre-COVID, that's easily $1 billion film. But I just think so many things have happened. Like, I'm not blaming COVID necessarily, but I'm just saying the amount of just the lack of interest in cinema, the lack of people going, the complete, superhero fatigue, the declining quality, the sort of, enumerated options of entertainment. It just seems like maybe, I mean, that might work. I think like the Harry Potter show is probably going to be huge no matter what, just because that fan base is there. But I don't know. I mean, we talk about these reboots and these things, it's, maybe they make a profit, maybe they don't. I don't really feel like people are rushing out to see this Predator movie. We're going to talk about it because that's what we do, but I don't think the public gives a shit. And I don't think like anyone was like jazzed for the Alien Earth show. Maybe they watched it for a few episodes, realized it's retarded and moved on. So the idea that we got this whole tentpole thing, it's like, I don't know. I think you should take the lesson from Weapons. Weapons was awesome. Weapons was a really cool original film with a unique script and a unique director and a modest budget with strong writing. It's like, you should take that lesson. You shouldn't take the information that, hey, people still watch these old properties. People still rent Predator. There's still juice in that berry. It's like, yeah, people still rent Predator because it was a good movie when you knew how to make movies well. Like, make original ideas, like put your heart into it. Obviously stop with the politics. Like, I don't know. It might work. It wouldn't shock me because it's like, there's just a lot of slop that people are just like, give me more slop. But for me, I don't know. I doubt it. I feel like if it does work, the returns are going to be diminished.
What do you guys think of the villain from Weapons coming out as an LGBTQ icon?
I thought Ryan Cannell had the best take. Did you see his tweet about it?
I did. I forget which one. I forget what it was, but like, again, that to me, honestly, I'm happy she said it because it's just exposing the quiet part. It's saying the quiet part out loud. It's like, well, yeah, of course they would find her who literally kidnaps children as being an icon for them. That makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, it was like such a L of a take. You're like, well, that's not what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much a Rachel Zegler moment, I think. Mm-hmm. What isn't a Rachel Zegler moment are super chats. We got Fluffy
Woman
Panda
of the Year, Rachel Zegler. Thank you very much.
Exactly. I thought the woman of the Year was a man this year. I don't know. Fluffy Panda for $5. Hollywood's on a roll. Can't wait for you to review Pagan Robin Hood versus Sean Bean and the Evil Christians. Then Gremlins 3, Miami Vice, Mummy 4. Wow. Yep, all those things are real. So, yeah, have you guys had a chance to see the MGM series Robin Hood? That he's
no. Oh goodness, no.
Yeah, so Sean Bean's in it, so he's going to die in a couple episodes. Sure.
Yeah,
they made Robin Hood pagan
right away.
He's literally Catholic. Like that's the.
Is that new? Is that like a new series that just came out? I haven't even heard about it.
It's on Amazon Prime right now.
Okay.
And then of course they're doing the new Miami Vice movie. They're doing Gremlins 3 and apparently Mummy 4. But
so boring.
I'm starting to have no reason to have anything that has a streaming service, including Amazon now. Yeah. I think I will officially withdraw my Amazon money.
The R ship.
Lollipop.
The radar sonar ship. It's a
guys,
nice
it's always darkest before the dawn. And we just heard news this week that Paramount is completely discarding J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, the Kelvin timeline, and they are rebooting Star Trek.
Odin just killed his mic.
Yeah. But yeah, so like there was a big article in Variety, which we'll get to in a second, because it actually goes deeper into some of the Paramount stuff that I want to dive into. But long story short, CEO of Paramount, David Ellison, has confirmed that they're putting a new emphasis on Star Trek, and they are getting rid of Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto and all these actors, and basically kind of pushing aside all of J.J. Abrams stuff from like the past like decade or so, or 2 decades, I should say. And basically they're saying like, yeah, we're just going to start with a clean, fresh slate. They don't know if it's going to be like Kirk and Spock again, but like they're going to go back to the drawing board on Star Trek, kind of, I guess, like push aside all like the Discovery nonsense and Picard series and stuff like that, and start fresh. And I think that this is long overdue. I think that, like once Alex Kurtzman's contract with the television side is done, they should just, reboot everything Star Trek wise, put all the TV series and movies in a lockbox and never reference them again and just like start over fresh. Because Star Trek, as it is right now, is a dead franchise. But so I just want to touch on this really quickly before we get into some of the more other things that David Ellison is doing, which are going to have far-reaching effects on the entertainment industry. So, Odin, if your head is still attached to your body and your brain is still functioning, what's your take on rebooting Star Trek?
I unplugged my headphones because I was so frustrated as I was headbutting my microphone. I do not care until they actually make something good. I will not care. Like, they can say they'll reboot it, they can say they'll fix it. Until they actually put out a product that's good, that actually proves what they have said they are going to do, I don't care.
Well, what's interesting, Odin, is according to this article, which we're going to talk about in a second, David Ellison has been basically firing tons and tons of people, mostly women, at Paramount.
Yeah.
So like there might be a silver lining to this because they're getting rid of all the wokies and stuff like that at the company.
It's a good start. It's a good start. But again, I remember when we were hearing stuff about how, Disney's turning ship too. And it's like, I haven't seen it yet. So...
Well, we're going to go into a little bit more detail with David Ellison in a bit, but I want to hear fake rich guy Foulball's take on saving the franchise that is now dead and buried, Star Trek. Do you think that there's ever a chance Star Trek could rebound?
I doubt it. Like, I'm not even really particularly a big Star Trek fan, but it's the type of thing where it's like you can't do all these fans so wrong for so many years and expect them to come back. Like, it would have to be like a transcendent work of genius for the bulk of the fans to return. There's always going to be those core people who just brain dead robots who will watch anything they put out. But I think for the most part, it's like, no, Star Wars is more my thing. I love Star Wars. It's like, if you came, like, I haven't even watched Andor, and everyone says it's some of the best Star Wars there's been. And I just don't care. Like, I'm just not, you've completely alienated me. I'm not interested. I'm not, it's like if you date a girl and she cheats on you 40 times and you're like, maybe the 41st time, she won't. It's like, that's ridiculous. It's like, you have to learn your lesson. And I think the fans have learned their lesson. And I don't know. I just can't imagine anyone's going to come back to it. Maybe they'll start like a new generation of fans, but I doubt that'll ever happen. So no, it's the same thing. Like, these are all just going to dwindle into obscurity. They're going to water down the brands and eventually they'll sell it. And, who knows? I'm just waiting for the whole entertainment industry to just end and something new take its place. I'm just like, it's so draining.
Well, leave it to the fake rich white guy on the panel to introduce a toxic masculinity metaphor into the discussion. Thank you so much for the cheating girlfriend thing. We needed more of that, Matt.
I'm saying.
Yeah, just saying, already misogynist about firing all the women at Paramount, and then like we double down with the cheating harlot.
Look, I guess they did do some things right. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, prenup. Yeah. So no, what's my take on what them trying to reboot Star Trek? It's dead.
Do you think it would work?
No. What corpse are you going to exhume for this to happen? There's nothing left. There's no connections to the quality of the past, and there's no optimism for the future. This is one of those times when I'm in a horror film that is a remove all hope horror movie. This is The Mist. Right now I'm in the middle of The Mist right now, and the plot, and then the army is going to show up at the end, but I've already smoked everybody. And that's what they've done to Star Trek. They've smoked everyone that could have survived, just to try to do them a favor so that they don't succumb to being consumed by the bugs. If you've not seen the movie Mist, it's a great horror film. But that is the absolute absence of hope horror film. And then the army shows up. So I feel like that's what's happened with Star Trek. The army just showed up. Oh, okay, but nobody's alive anymore. And that's, I kind of feel...
Culture.
Go ahead.
The one teacher who went out into the mist alone, she survived. And that is the remaining fan base for Star Trek. Right there.
Well, it's what, look, at this point it's shambling shells, but let's say that you could somehow keep the great actor, our famous Mr. Captain Kirk. Let's say we could keep him alive for 10 more years, and you could start there to rebuild Star Trek. That would be your last move. Or you could get that epic gay dude, but I don't think he's appealing to a mass audience anymore. But
Epic gay dude.
yeah, the Zulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I don't think you're gonna get him. Clearly, Jean-Luc Picard is at odds with making real Star Trek now, because he as you get older, you get dumber. He's really dumb now. There's no hope for this. How do you do it? How do you bring it back? You introduce a whole new crew. You reboot it completely with actors. They have to all be unknown, and so that you don't have to pay them anything, because it's going to be hard to compare with the original television and film franchise that was built by the classic characters everybody fell in love with. And if they don't reach back and do that, we've got Daisy Ridley all over again. And I think that's the only path that creatives can take Star Trek, is back into, Ray moments that we have to hear for 4 straight movies. Or 3.
Well,
or whatever.
one thing I do want to cover about this, which is kind of tangential to Star Trek getting rebooted, is this Variety article, which is actually a really poorly written article. Like, it's terribly anti-Trump and very biased, especially against the Ellisons, who just recently bought Paramount and who own Oracle and stuff like that.
I'm a little suspicious of them myself, to be on Variety's side on this one.
Now, I'm not saying that they're the good guys, but what I am saying is that I'm going to cover some stuff in this article which just shows Variety's bias. But what's interesting here is that so they talk a little bit about how the Ellisons, what they're trying to do is they're trying to consolidate a lot of IPs and media companies together in order to hit the ground running, to be like a big contender in Hollywood. And they're saying that their relationship with Donald Trump, who I guess is friends with both, Larry Ellison and David Ellison, Larry Ellison being the father who runs Oracle. He's the second richest guy in the world behind Elon Musk. And David Ellison, who's basically coming in, he owns Skydance. They recently bought out Paramount, and they're trying to buy out Warner Brothers right now. So, like, if they can consolidate Warner Brothers and Paramount together, and they're also at the forefront of the US TikTok deal, so they'll be owning TikTok, the American version of it, pretty soon. In addition to all that, basically, David Ellison has a plan to basically kind of like clean house at Paramount, clean house at Warner Brothers, consolidate everything together into one juggernaut, and then start pumping out content. Like, their big thing is like they want to make more content, not less. And so they're going to be increasing their movie output over the next couple of years. With TikTok, they're going to have like ways in which they can disseminate content around social media, but they're also going to be getting a lot of data. Like, one of Oracle's biggest strengths is that it has databases upon databases of tracking data from the internet. But with the addition of TikTok, they'll be able to see like what's trending, what people are really enjoying, what the demographic breakdowns are.
As long as it doesn't offend people, as long as it's the right type of content, then they'll have all the data there.
Well, what it is, let me finish, guys, before we get to you guys. What it is here is basically, and this article kind of points it out, is that they have a plan to generate lots and lots of content based off of data that they know people are going to respond to. But they also have Trump's ear, and so they think that they can get past any like antitrust regulations and stuff like that. But this article is kind of interesting because they talk about how basically their plan to, because Paramount just closed like that multi-billion-dollar UFC deal, and they're going to have like their first big pay-per-view on the White House lawn, and this says it's like something out of Idiocracy, and that the studio's trying to make content more closely aligned with MAGA. But what was really interesting to me is that there's this part in here in this article where they talked about the Call of Duty movies and how Peter Berg, who's directing it, was on Joe Rogan, and he said this down here, where basically he said that he thinks Trump is doing some great things. And they literally write here, this is the type of sentiment that could land talent on a blacklist anywhere but Paramount. Which basically means, like, if you say, like, I don't like Trump, but I think he's doing some things right, that means you never work in Hollywood again. And they're basically just flat out saying that right here, which I thought was kind of interesting. But this whole article kind of like really does like a deep dive into like what's going on over at Paramount. And they kind of vilify the Ellisons for like them cleaning out their news division and firing a bunch of people on the executive level and trying to basically consolidate with Warner Brothers and all this other stuff. Now, Matt, I know you have to go golfing pretty soon, so I wanted to get your take on this. What's your take on the whole situation with Paramount and the Ellisons and their relationship with Trump and what their strategy is going forward?
Well, I mean, I'm of two minds of it. I mean, as far as like the entertainment is concerned, I was a little more like optimistic because I'm like, well, they're saying, the Variety was warning that potentially pro MAGA content, which literally just means like not woke and gay, which I was like, okay, that's at least a great starting point for the entertainment. I like the idea of the UFC being on the White House lawn. Like that's a really cool, like based idea. But I'm really suspicious of the Ellisons and they just purchased like Barry Weiss for like $150 million, like her Substack. And then they've taken down, like they're infiltrating TikTok. And I think like one of the premier guys is like a former IDF soldier who's like, it's just like making sure there's no anti-Israel content. It does seem like, to me, that seems like what this is really more about like making sure the propaganda is like the right type of propaganda. So I don't know, like I'm of two minds of it. Like I'm very much like, we'll wait and see. But the mainstream media companies, whether it's making entertainment or making news, are just like, I feel like they're completely irrelevant right now. So, we'll see how it plays out. Don't fuck with Mobland. That's the best show that's come out in years. So as long as that keeps coming out, I'm okay.
All right. Well, Matt, where can people find you? I know you have to get running, so feel free to plug anything you want right here.
Yeah, thanks. I got two channels. One that I spend a lot more time on. That's Foulball Productions. Like I said, I do mostly more political and cultural content on that channel. Like I said, every Tuesday night, the MFR podcast live 6 p.m. Central. So check that out. And then I got Foulball Film and Television, where I upload very sporadically, but I have my most recent thing was like an Alien Earth review. There's a video about The Expanse. There's a video about some kind of shocking like TV scenes that like really stuck with me, stuff like that. So that's all my stuff, and Foulball Pro on everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here today, Matt. Good seeing you again.
This is great. Thanks, Matt.
Enjoy your fake wealth and frolicking on the golf course.
I'm going to pretend that I'm rich. This was great. Odin, great to see you, sir. Mr. Culture, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks for having me, y'all.
It's good to see you, man.
We'll catch you later.
Take it easy, Matt.
All right. So Culture, I wanted to hear your take on this whole thing, because this is a multifaceted thing. This is inside baseball, politicking in Hollywood, but there's some big moves being made here. And if Ellison can kind of like make his plan come to fruition, it could very well change the face of entertainment as we know it. So I want to get your take on this as I step away to the bathroom real quick.
It's always, and here's the thing, and I think this is something Odin probably knows a bit about too. This is already happening. The plan's already in full engagement. They acquired Barry Weiss's publishing efforts, the Free Press, in order to clear the decks and maintain more of her journalism, on top of the fact that she's now in charge of the news. That's a big deal, because she's going to bring a more level approach to reporting the news and covering the news, and not allowing for the editorial to get completely out of hand like they would with something like 60 Minutes and things like that. All the things that they've been accused of, the people who know that they're going to be on the wrong side of all of this because they're such activists for the Democrats, neo-Marxists, all the badness, they're getting cleared out. They're leaving of their own will. They are deporting themselves from, their position. So they're self-deporting, and that's a good thing. So, and as Barry Weiss moves forward and kind of, restructures the way their news programs operate, the people that are doing the producing behind the scenes, and trying to tear bias out, which she does. I mean, really, she's an aggressive centrist. Is probably the best way to describe her. And look, she still has views I don't agree with because of my faith, but at the same time, at least I know I'm going to be getting an unbiased news product, and I'll be getting unbiased news stories. And CBS News still pretty big deal. I mean, CBS, for all of its faults, like what's the name of that late night host? Starts with a C. He's a douche.
Chris Colbert.
Thank you. Yeah. He's the singular blot on the evening of CBS now, because again, Barry Weiss is basically the agent of change on that side of that facet, as Mr. Kadish had presented it, and I think that's a good thing. I think the idea to reboot, Star Trek isn't the bad one, and because this property's in more capable hands, probably with better quality writing. I mean, we just kind of praise something that's not even out yet, which is the Call of Duty stuff. I love most early Call of Duty games. Now I feel like they've like run into an iceberg and can't go any farther. But I love those. And making a story with Pete Berg, who I consider one of the people you go to if you want to make something authentically good, and the team up there, which is with Taylor Sheridan. So I think, as our friend Matt touched on before he decided to be fake rich at fake golf or whatever he's doing. I think that I think he's right. I think if you keep good shows and good people, good creatives in place, you're in good shape. One of the things that kind of bummed me out is that they're going to lose Taylor Sheridan in 5 years, 4 years from now, something like that. He's moving on. Like yeah. And so, keeping him around for those COD movies, that's a good thing. You're keeping him in your circle. And that was one thing that Warner Brothers couldn't do with Christopher Nolan because they just pissed him off so much. Project Popcorn was a disaster for Warner, and their Axeman didn't axe enough people, which is why Warner Brothers found themselves in a terrible place where their politics created huge problems for not only their DC universe, but everything else. At least as far as divisive politics go, I think, and because of obviously the move to collect Barry Weiss, I think you have now created the opportunity for change in real ways across the board. And I think in order to make organizations function again after the well has been poisoned for so long, I can point at Disney all day at this one. I think you have to gut and replace the people that have been bringing down your organization. And that's what I'm seeing happen. And it's why I appreciate the Ellisons are doing what they're doing. And I do agree. I mean, they do have the president's ear. But I don't think that any antitrust objections that would come up to an acquisition of Warner Brothers by Paramount would be immediately waved away because you're not talking about networks with Warner Brothers.
Well, what's interesting, Culture, is that on the streaming front, which is where all the growth that these studios are seeing nowadays, one of the big issues with Paramount has been that Paramount Plus, formerly CBS All Access, all that stuff, has been a shit show of a streaming service. Yeah. It's been technically played and all that other stuff. But with Oracle, they are a tech company. And so the idea here is that the Ellisons are going to come in with their tech bros and basically like streamline the service, make it more functional, make it easier to use, make it more stable. But Odin, the big thing here seems to be like, we talked about the Warner Brothers tentpole and mini tentpole strategy, but the Ellisons are kind of like doing the same thing, hitting the ground running with Paramount, because in addition to Star Trek, which has been Paramount's golden goose for like decades, they're also talking about reviving Top Gun and Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. It seems like they're getting back into the Tom Cruise business. They've got all types of other franchises that they can kind of exploit, like The Godfather and things of that nature, that basically are well-known properties that have just been kind of sitting around for years and no one's been doing anything with them. But it sounds like the Ellisons want to start doing that. So do you think that this kind of like new focus on their old kind of hits might be something that could reinvigorate the studio?
I mean, maybe, but this is kind of like the problem that modern Hollywood has really been falling into, which is that they rely solely on remakes, reboots, etc. Like, I mean, this is exactly what we have seen happen with Disney, right? The only film that really made any money for them this year was the Lilo and Stitch live action. And so even when it does hit off like that, it doesn't make up for the fact that Disney is still like $1 billion in the hole, right? $1 billion in the red theatrically, and that's just what they've been releasing in theaters, right? That's not including anything from their streaming services, which is just a black hole of money, right? So we're talking probably even maybe multiple billions of dollars that they are just, again, for lack of a better expression, pissing away. And so I think that Warner Brothers, to do that, would probably be putting themselves into a very precarious situation that Disney has found out too quickly about. Basically, I think that Warner Brothers today could end up like Disney in a few years. And the only way they might be able to make that work is if they approach it with much more let's just say, a lot more wisdom, especially when it comes to spending and budgets. They already are much better on spending than Disney, but that's also not that great of an achievement because Disney is just so drunk with their spending. Anybody, by comparison, is good. And so that might be the only thing they could do is if they pick their projects well and if they are very careful with how they spend. But I, again, don't trust anything from Mount Hollywood these days.
Well, let me ask you both. What if Paramount succeeds in acquiring Warner Brothers and they become this like super studio? What then?
I mean, again, it would be pretty much the same thing, because then it'd be their own content, it'd be Warner Brothers content, amongst many other things, right? So again, I think that the only thing that would really help them is in getting Warner Brothers, that would allow them to actually have a good streaming service. That would allow them to actually have something that might be able to compete against the Netflix or compete against some of the others out there. So like that to me, I think is where their focus should be, not on trying to create just a soulless content, because it might be good for the short term, but the long term, it's going to kill them. Yeah,
I see it the same way, except that I'm going to say that I don't think their effort is going to be at soulless content. I think that they are a tech company, as Mr. Kadish pointed out, and I believe that they did a lot of data to figure out what they needed to make to satisfy audiences. They probably analyzed the successful films, everything before 2015, and figured out, oh, wow, this is really what the audience is into. This is why the box offices of 2018 and 2019 were records, right? This is why the global interest in what we were doing at that time were so interested. And you can definitely point at, not real Star Wars, and you can point at, terrible Marvel garbage after those dates. But as you progress forward, I think that they will use data in an effective way. Whereas Disney, for being a data-driven company, like they try to say all the time, they are reading the wrong data. They haven't done it effectively. And so I think I put a lot more faith into the Ellisons and their approach than I do the Mouse. The House of Mouse, once polluted or completely polluted by Iger, I think is too far gone. I think the next CEO has to, if they want to be successful in the future, have to clean house. Whereas I think Paramount's, like I said, they already replaced lots of problems with Barry Weiss on the news side. I think on the content side, they have the right formula, because tell me a Paramount show you don't love.
I don't even know like what Paramount show, and maybe Blue Bloods. I never liked Blue Bloods.
Oh, well, I'm talking about more on the streaming side, because everything Taylor Sheridan's a winner. So
I've never been a big fan of Yellowstone. Like I like Tulsa King.
Tulsa King's genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
1923 is the one that I was not a big fan of, and it was mostly because one of the subplots was very anti-Catholic, and I hated it.
Yeah, and my wife insists that Taylor Sheridan's anti-woman, and she used to love Yellowstone, and then like as it went along, she's like,
they're
really fucking around with the female characters. I don't like that. So she now boycotts everything Taylor Sheridan.
Oh boy, well, show her Sons of Anarchy. You want to see it?
We've watched Sons of Anarchy, but was that Taylor Sheridan?
Yeah, he was in it. He didn't write it. What's his name? The guy with the bad eye. Married to the Married with Children lady.
That's not Taylor Sheridan.
No, Taylor Sheridan is the sheriff, or the sheriff's deputy, I think, at one point in time. Then the sheriff, after they replaced the old dude in the show. Okay. That was Taylor Sheridan.
Well, I like Mayor of Kingstown because I'm a Jeremy Renner simp.
Renner's good. Look, that's my point. He makes good stuff, and he's going to make this COD stuff.
Was Lioness any good?
I never watched it, but
it's been praised.
It got good ratings. I mean,
yeah, it's been praised.
I mean, like I tried watching the first 3 episodes, and I was like, "This is dumb. I can't make it through it."
But
I will tell you, Landman is some fucking
is genius. Yes, yeah. Billy Bob Thornton is the driver of that, and that's one of the things I think too. Is I think Taylor Sheridan understands that good casting make good things. And I think Hollywood lost that idea a long time ago.
For those of you out there who haven't seen Landman, there's a part where Billy Bob Thornton has his pinky ripped off, and he just asks for a Dr. Pepper, and a cigarette, and then like he like breaks off the rest of his finger and wraps it up, and for the rest of the series he has one less pinky finger.
He's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, like that's a great show.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway, sorry, I go on tangents, but I do think that Paramount with Warner Brothers is better than Warner Brothers with Comcast Universal.
Or Netflix, right?
Netflix can't be serious. They have a hard enough time, trying to control the woke people that are in their organization.
I actually heard a rumor that Netflix it keeps floating potential buying of Warner Brothers just to drive up the price so that Paramount has to pay more.
That's what happened in the Fox deal. That Comcast drove the deal up for Iger. I can't believe for a minute they were ever serious about overpaying for Fox. Disney bought Epic Universe with that stupidity.
Epic Universe.
Yeah, the theme park. Universal used the everything that they needed to put Epic Universe together, because one of the reasons they wanted to acquire Fox was to get Hulu, and then they ultimately had to pay off and buy out Disney Disney had to buy out the Comcast portion, for ridiculous amounts of billions. So that's why I always say, Disney bought Epic for Comcast.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway,
guys,
it's silly. Sorry.
it's okay. We got Major Chai, a member for 22 months. I'll reserve my optimism for the Star Trek reboot until I know who'll be leading it. Happy birthday, Culture. Yes,
Thank
Culture
you, Major Chai.
has turned 90 years old yesterday. So
still only 55. I'm still just think Sammy Hagar. Think Sammy Hagar. I can't drive 55.
You look great for your age, man. You look great.
Thank you.
We got Captain JPS, a member for 5 months. He says, "Throw all reboots out the airlock." Yes,
get the BSG treatment right there.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got Kohlhauser Aram for $5 Canadian. Without Paris, Blana, Kim, the Doctor, Neelix, and Tuvok, Voyager would have been far worse than it was. Janeway was a stiff, and Chakotay was a janitor. Yeah, I've never been a big Voyager fan.
Yeah. I mean, I've oftentimes heard Janeway described as a pillow princess, and I can believe it. So,
well, I had friends who worked on Voyager, and they'd always tell me about how jealous and petty, what's her name, who played Janeway was, especially when 7 of 9 came on board. Apparently, Jerry Ryan and her did not get along. So,
Jerry seems to be attractive.
Seems to be. Bad taste in men, though. Anyway, Kohlhauser Ara for $2 Canadian. We need Kiefer back for a new ass-kicking 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stole the countdown for my government shutdown thing on my podcast show, the politic one, the Thank You for Your Attention, This Matter one. And I love playing that twice a week. So,
well, the thing about 24 is I can only think of like 2 seasons that were actually like really good, and all the others just got so ridiculous. And even the good seasons had like really ridiculous moments in it. And then like the reboots that they tried to do with the race swapped, Kiefer versions.
That was terrible.
They just weren't good. And I think the format's very restricting because like you have to do real time, all that stuff.
What I loved is that the president was selling me insurance at the commercials.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The first president, the cool one.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got Pseudo Nombot, who gifted 1 Salty Nerd podcast membership. Thank you, Pseudo Nombot. And of course, John Yulden, Brian's boyfriend, for £4.99. The Star Trek Unification short last year is proof that with talented and the right people, you can bring Star Trek back. Yeah, the Roddenberry Collective or whatever it's called, they've been doing some amazing stuff with like AI and Star Trek, and they're all like silent short films, but like they're all so fucking good that I think that like if you just, and I think Picard season 3 is another good example of this, where when you have people who actually like love the series and care about it and are talented, like you can do a lot with Star Trek. You can make it really good. And John Yulden correctly pointed out that those Unification shorts are just chef's kiss. Love that stuff.
I want to say that, if you want Star Trek to come back, Star Trek Continues was on the right path. And I think that guy's available to hire. So just saying.
Yeah, it could be. All right, guys. Who isn't available to hire is the cast of Stranger Things, especially
boy.
considering that there's a lot of drama going on about this. So the Daily Mail, which isn't the most reputable news organization out there, but they dropped this a couple days ago where basically they have proof that Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Eleven in Stranger Things, filed a harassment and bullying claim against David Harbour before they started shooting the final season of the show. Now, this show has been like on hiatus for like 5 years, something like that. Like every kid is like in his 30s or something like that nowadays. But this kind of like came out of nowhere, and it's unverified, but what's conspicuous about it is no one that's involved is actually commenting on it. Like they're not coming out and denying it, which is kind of interesting. And this kind of coincides with a shitstorm of PR for David Harbour because he's currently divorcing his former wife, Lily Allen, who's a singer-songwriter. And she just came out with a new album that is entirely devoted to exposing him as a cheating jerk. And every song on there spills some tea about like his bad habits. And so that's lending some credence to the idea that David Harbour was kind of bullying and harassing towards Millie Bobby Brown. But the article was very clear that there was nothing sexually inappropriate that he's being accused of. It's just harassment and bullying, even though like they haven't really kind of like detailed what that might mean. And then we have this article from Yahoo that dropped the other day where essentially it says that, these guys were together on the red carpet for the premiere of Stranger Things, and they seemed totally cool with each other. And this is proof that, the Daily Mail article doesn't really hold any weight. And but again, this was all stuff that was put out by Netflix, and no one's actually come out and said like, yes, there was never a harassment claim made, and Netflix is like, we don't comment on internal investigations. So there's still this idea out there that David Harbour is kind of like a bad person to work with and has trouble with women. But Millie Bobby Brown, who's now in her late 20s and has kids and a husband and all that stuff, she is not putting up with his bullshit anymore, it would seem. But I wanted to get your guys' take on this. Do you think that this scandal is going to affect the season 5 premiere or release of Stranger Things on Netflix? Odin, what do you think?
I mean, there's a lot of things going on there, but yeah, when it comes to like the whole allegation stuff, it's really hard to say one way or the other, right? Because in the one hand, I think it was the creators who, when asked, just said, we don't comment on personal matters. So if it was something that was just blatantly not true, then they would have just been able to say, okay, that's ridiculous, but they didn't. So I think that just kind of feeds into the potential that it could be true. And some then would point to saying, but they were on the red carpet together, laughing together. Yeah, but they're also getting paid to be there. So a lot of these actors will put on a happy face for a paycheck, right? And that's something that is also something that is there too. But also at the same time, the whole vindictiveness of a former spouse, like a former partner, is also something that could be feeding into the stories that are going out there too. So I don't know what is true. All I know is that when it comes to Hollywood actors, the vast majority of the time they're all scumbags, and I don't really trust any of them or like any of them beyond what I have to as a Christian. So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, I hope everyone's happy and safe, but ultimately I don't care.
Well,
Culture, do you care? What's your take on this?
I think this is typical behind the scenes drama that oftentimes fans are not. No, they don't know it. They don't know what's been going on in the background. Over the course of her growing up, you have to consider how many years Stranger Things has taken to get to the end of its 5th season, thankfully. But she's grown up. She's went from being a teenager to a woman, as you pointed out, Mr. Kadish. And I think that there's going to be moments in time where you're at odds with your cast. Did Millie Bobby Brown feel bullied? Yeah, she came out and said so. But at the same time, in the midst of the press junket or press tour that's being done right now for these films, because they're all going to be films, and you're going to get to see, the last Stranger Things in a theater. I think that they're taking the opportunity to play PR games now. because in the last several days, in fact, on my birthday, Deadline dropped a story that Millie Bobby Brown feels so lucky to have Stranger Things co-star David Harbour. Now, mind you, I covered this when it was happening on the 6 Minute Daily about, a week or so ago when the story just broke, obviously through the Daily Mail and other sites. And I'm like, this is not only possible and plausible, but it's also, likely to happen on any long-term run of any show, whether it be Friends or How I Met Your Mother, or even on MASH. How many personal conflicts were on MASH? It was ridiculous. So I look at these things, and it's just like fans just they just don't know about it. They're unaware of what happens in the background of these productions. And I think I'm gonna stake out Odin's position because it seems safe. But I don't know that it matters, and I don't know that I care very much. What I care about is that nobody actually abused somebody else, because that would change my opinion and my stance and what I would be saying about this right now. Because I don't want what was a regular occurrence at Nickelodeon to happen to anybody in anything modern these days. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about this is that the suit and the investigation was done before season 5 started shooting.
Yep. And
I think that it was around that time where they might have been doing rehearsals or something like that, where David Harbour was going through this divorce with his wife.
Yeah.
And so he may have been, frustrated or angry and stuff like that. And it might have come out during the rehearsals, made Millie Bobby Brown feel unsafe, and so she filed this claim. Don't know where David Harbour's at in his headspace, but he is not a normally sane human just based off of his political stances, stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see if this has any effect at all. I know that it's definitely affecting his reputation, but more so about his ex-wife's new album than it is about anything to do with Stranger Things. But his reputation is definitely a little bit tarnished nowadays. But what is interesting to me is also, we were just talking about Paramount. Paramount just signed a big deal with the Duffer Brothers to leave Netflix and come over and start making stuff for them, even as they lose Taylor Sheridan. So that should be pretty interesting. I don't know if you guys know anything about the Duffer Brothers, but I guess they were sons of some multimillionaire, and they kind of slid in there, kind of like how Benioff and Weiss slid in with HBO. And it just so happened that they're way more talented than Benioff and Weiss, and they made this big hit. So we'll see what they can do outside there.
The issue is that losing Taylor Sheridan means they're losing someone that could do several shows simultaneously that are almost all really, really good. I think there's some debate over a couple of them, right? But still consistently good content in quick order. The Duffer Brothers, how long did it take them to do all of this show?
Yeah.
11 years? It took a long
time.
Yeah, 10
so
years?
that is something that they are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I think the gap between season 4 and 5, though, what's interesting about that is it was a lot of it had to do with COVID, right? They needed time to develop the season, but then on top of that, they couldn't do any actual pre-production because of the COVID restrictions and stuff like that. And I'm sure that there was some type of financial negotiations with the cast and stuff that also held things up. So there was a lot of stuff going on to get season 5 even made. But I think Netflix kind of bullied everyone into eventually coming to the table and getting it going. But it did take a long time, no doubt about that. It doesn't take a long time is reading super chats, guys. We got Caveat Ties for $5. How much of it could be generational differences? Youngins can't take the harsher told, always whining. Old school guys say it like it is.
I would say that, except that she performed very well in other productions, including Godzilla and other things that she was in along the way. Enola Holmes being another example. I do recognize there are differences in generations. In fact, there are fabulous differences between generations, because I don't want to be associated with any of the woke millennials and the Z's and anything else that's going on out there.
Technically, I'm a millennial, so.
Yeah, but you don't sound like an advertisement for fried rice when you're speaking. No, you're fine. But I just I just want to say that she performed well with other adults in other situations. So I don't feel like that was the main difference there or a conflict there. I think it's more likely Mr. Kadish, who's a wise man, said it was likely David Harbour's, processing of his pending divorce and everything else that went along with that. That I think was likely the bigger factor in their relationship gap.
Just like Culture is a 90-year-old man, Millie Bobby Brown's in her 40s, and so like there's not that big of a generational.
She's only
difference there.
20.
So,
You're talking about
she's
her
like
appearance.
27. She's like 27, dude.
No, she's
Is she
not.
27 now?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Pretty sure she is.
Look it up. Look it up. And bring it.
Right.
The problem is it's so believable because she had such a radical change between the period of time that all those little rappers were chasing after her and sending inappropriate messages.
I'm looking it up, and according to DeepSync,
2004. 21. She's only 21.
Yes.
She's 29 years old.
No, she's
according
21.
According to DeepSync.
According to Wikipedia, which again, don't like it, but still, stuff like this, they're usually pretty accurate.
Ask Grokpedia.
Ask
What would be
Grokpedia.
an accurate answer. No,
Well,
but
Wikipedia has updated it forever, and
honestly, she's 40 years old, just like Culture's 90 years old.
She is not. She is
She
not.
is, man. She's totally 40 years old.
again, I pulled it up on Grokpedia as well.
She's got 3
Birthday,
kids.
2004.
She's born in 2004, bro.
She
She's
was born
a post
in
9/11 child.
1804. So like she's even older. She's like Rose in Titanic. So
Oh man.
That was why there was controversy, because it wasn't that she had kids. They were trying to adopt a child, and they were like, "You're like early 20s, and like you're in this new relationship, like trying to adopt." It's like, what?
she actually had plastic surgery to make her look older. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
I thought it was just to fix her nose, but yeah, whatever.
It could be, but like she wanted to age up so she could get more roles in Hollywood. Oddly
That's
enough.
not how you do it. She is anti-casting couch now.
Well, you know what else you don't do in Hollywood, guys, is you don't be J.J. Abrams or Rian Johnson, because somehow Rian Johnson returned. And I know it's pronounced Ryan, guys. I prefer to pronounce it phonetically. Ruin Johnson.
Did he ever go away?
No, because basically, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but recently at a premiere screening of his new Knives Out mystery, Wake Up
Onion
Dead Man,
garbage. Yeah.
he got up on stage with J.J. Abrams. And of course, they had to make the joke where of being on stage together, they were like, let's talk about the franchise trilogy everyone wants to hear our thoughts about.
No.
J.J. Abrams said, let's talk about Knives Out. And so, essentially what came out of this like little talk was Rian Johnson actually kind of addressed his Star Wars trilogy, because we all know that Odin loves to talk about Star Wars, just like he loves to talk about Star Trek. So Rian Johnson says the divisive fan reaction to The Last Jedi is not the reason his Star Wars trilogy has yet to be made. He says, no, not at all. In fact, it's the reason that I wanted to. My overall experience with putting the movie out and what you're talking about with fan feedback. I mean, first of all, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan, so I know the deal. I know that Star Wars fans are passionate about this stuff. We love the stuff we love. We hate the stuff we hate, and we fight about it. And that's been happening since the original trilogy. And what's interesting is that I think one of the reasons that he's shifted away from Star Wars and focusing on Knives Out is that he makes way more money on the Knives Out movies than he does on Star Wars, and he gets far less BS for it. But what was also interesting about this article, and Den of Geek isn't exactly like a paragon of reporting, but this comes from Rian Johnson's own words up on stage, where he spotted in dailies the Daniel Craig cameo as like a stormtrooper in The Force Awakens. And he asked Pablo Hidalgo like who that actor was, and Pablo Hidalgo lied to him, as Pablo Hidalgo does. He lies to everyone, right? And he said like, oh, it's just a stunt dude in a stormtrooper outfit, but it turns out it was actually Daniel Craig. And Rian Johnson allegedly was able to clock that just by looking at how the actor walked across the screen.
Yeah,
But,
he doesn't have a female saunter, does he?
No, not at all. But Wake Up Dead Man is coming out really soon on Netflix and in theaters. It's the third in the Knives Out mystery trilogy. I think that Knives Out is one of the kind of like most overrated mystery series out there, because basically it's not really a mystery. They kind of tell you like, who did what from the beginning, and it's just Benoit Blanc trying to figure out, put the pieces together. But I felt like Glass Egg was really dumb. The first Knives Out was okay, but it was like way too political. And I don't know about this one, but Ryan Johnson's not a good writer, and I don't think he's a very good director. And he's also very full of himself. But the question does become it, because like they've never officially announced that his trilogy, his Star Wars trilogy, has been canceled. It's been implied that it's been put on the back burner, but that might be because Ryan Johnson just is busy with other stuff and doesn't want to deal with Star Wars at the moment, but he might be coming back to it at a certain point. I think the most insulting thing here is the fact that him and J.J. Abrams are on stage together and they don't actually address Star Wars at all, right? So I want to get your takes on this. Odin, I know you love talking about this subject, so please give us your in-depth breakdown on Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy.
It's not going to happen, because most of the Star Wars movies that have been announced aren't even going to happen. So why would that one that hasn't been mentioned in so many years now, for like almost half a decade at this point, why would that ever come to fruition either? No, the reason why also is because, as you just mentioned, he got a very lucrative deal. He struck while the iron was hot, right? When Star Wars was still a thing, even though he destroyed it. And he got that quick little deal, right, to do the whole Knives Out stuff. And then he went ahead and made a lot of money. And apparently people like his content. He has his fans. And they are obviously enough. There's enough fans of his that he is likely going to be able to continue to stay in this world for as long as he wants to. So, yeah, once he's done with the Knives Out stuff, he'll sign another contract, because it has been lucrative for both involved. And I think that you'll also see him sign on for yet another random mystery trilogy or something else. Maybe he'll even go sci-fi. Actually, that'd be, I think, hilarious, right? If he decides to go on, it's like, yeah, we're actually going to do a sci-fi series now, and it's not Star Wars. And I think that'd be very apropos, as it were, because his Star Wars trilogy is not going to happen, because even Disney knows they would lose all kinds of money.
Well, what's funny about the Knives Out franchise that he's developed, so the way that they make money on that is they bundle a bunch of well-known actors together. So if you remember the first Knives Out, it was like Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Jamie Lee Curtis, bunch of big name actors were involved in that movie, and they get them attached, and then they pre-sell the foreign rights for multi-millions of dollars, right? So that basically the movie is paid for before it even goes to film. And all the money that is made at the box office or whatever, Ryan Johnson, as the creator and producer of the series, gets a really big chunk of that. And that's in perpetuity. And so the more movies he makes in that franchise, the more money he makes. And it's all risk-free for them, because they pre-sell the foreign distribution rights before they even make those movies. And now they have that distribution deal with Netflix where they get exclusivity and stuff like that. So it's even more lucrative. So he's probably going to keep making those in perpetuity. I don't know if you guys watched his Peacock original series with Natasha, what's her name? But it's basically like Columbo, but like with a girl who has like great memory or something like that. Or no, she knows when people are lying. She has an inherent ability to tell when people are lying. She's like a human lie detector. But it's the same format as the Knives Out, where basically like they show you the crime at the beginning of the show, and then it's just her figuring out stuff so like there's no actual mystery involved. And I feel like that's like the laziest form of like mystery writing. But Culture, I want to get your take on this. Like, why do you think Ryan hasn't really like focused on Star Wars?
I think
you would think that would be his focus, right?
Yeah, well, I think Ryan Cannell is frustrated by Star Wars now, and I don't care anything of what Ryan Johnson cares about at all. Look, I agree with you. He might find another contract at some point in time, and he might land something else. But Star Wars fans will never watch anything he makes. If even Disney knows that. As far as his onion garbage, I agree with you. It's the worst kind of mystery thing. And I think the lady's name you were looking for was Natasha Lyonne, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's
right. But when I look at that, I mean, those mysteries are not good. Like, I would rather watch the more recent Murder on the Orient Express or something like that, because at least they're trying and they're being faithful-ish to things, and they're loaded up with stars too.
Yeah, I love the Kenneth Branagh, Agatha Christie, Poirot films.
Yeah,
they're a guilty pleasure.
Branagh's like legitimate everything. That guy could do anything. I think if Hollywood just listened to him for 5 minutes, they'd be better off. But anyway, if you listen to Ryan Johnson for 5 minutes, you're going to destroy every single franchise or anything that he touches. I have no faith in him. If he has something of his own, he seems to be all right, but he shouldn't be allowed to touch valuable properties because he does not treat them with care. And I'd say the same thing of J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams shouldn't be near anything that he didn't come up with because he hasn't figured out what's in the mystery box yet. So you cannot do that to Star Wars. So Rian Johnson, his biggest crime was disassembling Star Wars in the way that he did, and all of the previous work that was done by J.J. Abrams not being a good collaborator. But again, if he makes money for somebody, good on him. I don't want to see him near anything else that people love ever again. And I don't think people love these Onion movies. I don't.
Yeah, the Knives Out movie. In fact, here's a great comment from Commander Ed Stryker of Shadow. Knives Out is basically a layman gay murdered by death. And I don't know if you've seen this. We actually reviewed Murdered by Death on the Salty Nerd channel. It's one of my it's one of my favorite movies. So go check that out. But you're right. It is a layman gay murdered by death, and not an intentional comedy either. So Murdered by Death is brilliant. I love that movie. I find it interesting that you look at someone like J.J. Abrams and you look at someone like Rian Johnson, and coming into the new millennia, these guys could do no wrong, right? Like they were considered to be the future of Hollywood. They were extremely talented.
Well,
they knocked out a lot of things. And then the minute that they get into the Star Wars franchise, they completely blow all their credibility, all their goodwill. Rian Johnson is single-handedly responsible for destroying that franchise by fracturing the fan base with his movie because he didn't care. He didn't care about anything other than what he wanted to do.
Yep. Yeah, he didn't want to make a Star Wars movie. He wanted to make a Space Wizard movie or something. I don't know, but I think you're right, and I think that they made a power play because of J.J. Abrams' wives, that entire generation of douchebags, through Time's Up movement combined with everything else that was going on at the time, and that includes the creators of Westworld and some of those other things at the time. I think that these are the people who made a power play and took advantage of the environment and got elevated well beyond their station and overly praised for mediocrity. And I think that's what we've been subjected to now for almost 2 decades, Mr. Kadish.
Well, I mean, the biggest crime JJ committed was just redoing the original, right? He didn't bring anything new to the table. He just basically said, "Oh, everything that happened after Return of the Jedi, we're just going back to what happened in A New Hope with different names." So he didn't bring anything new to the table. He didn't bring anything innovative. In fact, I believe George Lucas even said that much after he had his private screening, and he was pissed off that they didn't use his scripts for the follow-ups. But then you have Kathleen Kennedy saying the hard thing about Star Wars is that there's no source material. When you had the Thrawn trilogy sitting right there that could have easily been adapted, but they didn't want to do anything that the audience was already familiar with, right?
Well,
I mean, J.J. Abrams is the laziest fucking filmmaker ever. He's never had any real original ideas. It's always been stuff that he thought was cool that he would then adapt into and put his own little twist on, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is when you're super fucking lazy, having a what was it, resistance within the New Republic instead of just the Republic military. It's what are they fucking resisting? It's okay, she's a general.
President Trump.
She's a general in the New Republic, and she's clocked the First Order, which is this basically the Empire, as the biggest potential threat to the Republic, and no one fucking believes her. It's just come on, dude, come on.
I mean, and again, I feel like Disney's largely to blame also, because anything that people they immediately destroy. Iger is the killer of all things after he's owned them for 10 years.
Well, and I think it comes down to the axis of evil, right? Which is Iger, Kennedy, and Feige. These are all people who've been in charge of some the biggest, most beloved franchises on the planet in history, and they've somehow managed to destroy them despite their best efforts. It's just come on, guys.
They're Oppenheimer, the destroyer of worlds.
Exactly. Except, not as sexy or fun to watch.
I don't like that movie for that very reason.
Well, it's not sexy enough.
No, because they have all that random crap in there, and you're like, why? Yeah. This is unnecessary.
Well, you can say that about pretty much every Nolan movie. There's a lot of unnecessary in there.
Not like that.
But,
wait a minute. So are you bad mouthing Tenet?
No.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Oppenheimer.
And Tenet.
I thought
Tenet's issue was that the sound design sucked.
Dude,
the sound design was
that's
horrible.
Nolan is known for destroying the sound design. It's like, hey, let's not put the voices in the center channel. Let's just divide them over here so nobody can hear what the heck's going on in the film.
Somehow I understood the film, but it's because I was warned.
Guys, Dutch and Alex and I all went to go see Tenet together, and we couldn't hear a single line of dialogue in that movie.
I wish I would have been with you guys. I wish, because I would have warned you.
It was like watching a silent movie. We were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like, again, because of that warning, I actually, because I have ADHD, so somehow I was able to get in hyper focus mode, and I understood about 80% of the film, and I actually enjoyed it because of that. But I also told everyone after, I was like, by the way, I like the film. However, I understand why anyone would hate it, because it is hard to hear anything that's being said.
I saw Star Trek the motion picture, the original, in theaters on a wet print. And I understood more of that film at my young age than I did of Tenet. When I watch it here at home, I have it subtitles on. I'm like, what are they saying? It's bad.
Tenet is definitely Nolan's worst movie, bar none.
No. Inception had similar problems with audio. Like I said, he has a history. Yes, but it's there, and he's got a history of doing that. And I'm like, don't jack the sound. Have somebody else make your sound, please, because you're not doing it right.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises is I think his worst film.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely not his best, but I'd say that it's better than Tenet. I didn't like Tenet at all. Anyway, you guys know what else people don't like is the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 keeps getting delayed. Yes. I was born in the darkness.
It's great to make fun of.
Yes.
It's
By the
hilarious.
way, Odin, of anybody on FNT that does that voice, you're the best. So,
I try my best.
but guys,
my son, by the way, loves Lego Batman. And he loves Bane because that Bane is totally based off of the Nolan Bane voice. And so sometimes my son will just randomly, that was unnecessary. Like he'll just say the voice, and I'm like, yes.
What was the actor's name who played Bane again? It was
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah. Like it's so funny to like he does like a different voice in like every role that he plays. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that or not. It's kind of interesting.
I appreciate that.
But guys, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed once more, this time by a year to November 2026.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people probably don't care about this, but this is actually kind of like a big deal in the video game industry, because when they announced that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out in May of 2026, right? And it was already pushed back one time to that window. Every other video game company doesn't want to compete, and so they reschedule their releases. And now there's going to be a huge gap in the summer for video game releases of 2026. And now everyone who was going to release for the holiday season in 2026 now has to figure out when they're going to be releasing, because they don't want to be going head to head with Grand Theft Auto 6, because it's going to be like whenever a new Grand Theft Auto comes out, the video game industry profits rise like a Biden election.
Well, for them, yeah.
It just goes through the roof, right, overnight. So this is actually kind of a big deal that they've decided to push it back. But there's more to this story, guys. There's more to this.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So the idea here is that now, under the new political climate, a lot of the woke stuff that had made its way into the game is getting removed and rewritten in order to not piss off as many players. Because it was going one way, the winds of change, and now it's blowing another way. And so Rockstar wants to, I guess, fix the game before it gets released. So Culture, why don't you break it down for us.
Look, we've been talking about this for a while in the game circles, and I'm just going to tell you the rumored woke content. You can take the word rumored out of it. They've been madly ditching this garbage to put to not release a polished turd, because the game is going to be beautiful. You don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, they had a lot of elements in there that were going to go well against what they are known for, of the the high level political satire and cultural commentary that they make. And so they are getting rid of all of that. But on top of that, there was another controversy. All this is kind of tied together. It's very strange in that they fired a bunch of people in the UK. 31, I believe. And they did so because those people, they claim, were leaking confidential information about the internal stuff there at Rockstar. So that studio basically got gutted. But the people that got gutted say, no, it's because we were trying to join a union. So they're saying it's union busting. And this is the timing. Obviously, Rockstar says is coincidental, or actually, I guess it's the CEO of 2K saying no. It was the reasons these people were leaking confidential information, and they should not have been. So that happened at the same time. But really, the game's delayed, and again, they have Jason Schreier out there running cover for them. The world's biggest douche in gaming journalism. And he's not believable. But like I said, that's the reason that we're getting a delayed game. They're going to try to get all the woke out of it. And I think that's good. There's a lot of storylines in there that would be uncomfortable. And as you pointed out, Mr. Kadish, the gaming profits around the globe are going to go astronomical. But every other game company is going to lose their hat.
Yeah.
So,
but Odin, video games have overtaken movies and TV in terms of like the entertainment space, in terms of like where the focus is and like how much money they're making and their profitability and stuff like that. And when you have a disruption as big as this is, where basically, all the marketing materials were getting ready to go out, all this other stuff were being prepared. Now there's like, now we have to readjust all this. It's kind of like pushing back a big budget movie release from like the summer to the holiday time and things. There's a lot of unintended repercussions that come along with this. What do you see this delay doing to the video game industry?
I mean, this has been something that has been anticipated for a very long time. There's obviously been a lot of concern about it as well. I don't really think it's going to have that much of an impact because video games are still just one of the most successful things out there right now. It's almost like an endless supply of money. I mean, I can't tell you how many kids are just all into this whole as far as mobile gaming, especially like Clash Royale, for instance. Like all the kids are playing Clash, like all the time, nonstop, just Clash. So Fortnite, even after all these years, is still incredibly popular as well. And so there are just a lot of games that already exist that are already just continuing to make money for a lot of these companies in the industry. So I think as far as the delay is concerned, I don't think it's going to change all that much as far as like the market. Obviously, it would have been a potential, mass profit opportunity for them. And they're continuing to build the anticipation. I do think, though, you get to a point where you're going to start to, I think, lose some interest. And so it's going to be interesting to see, how much money it makes, how well it does, and if it is coming in underneath expectations. And I think if it does, you could probably point to the delay causing some of that.
All right. Well, who isn't delayed is Captain GPS dropping $2 on us. He says, at this rate, Mass Effect 5 will come out before Grand Theft Auto 6. I wouldn't put it past them, although, hopefully Mass Effect 5 is better than the other 3 that came before it. The first Mass Effect is still the best, but everything other than that, I do not like. That's just me personally, though. Okay, guys, real quick before we get out of here, I don't know if you know this, but it's official. Warner Brothers is making Gremlins 3. Steven Spielberg is back, and Chris Columbus is returning not only as writer, but also as director. And I've been fan of Gremlins. Like, it's a Christmas movie in our house, so every Christmas me and my wife and kid watch it. But I also love Gremlins 2. I think, I remember seeing that in the theater. It was so much fun. I can't believe it's taken them this long to make another Gremlins movie. but it's one of their mini tent poles, I guess you'd say. But the fact that Spielberg's coming back for it gives me a lot of hope. And I know he hasn't been batting 1,000 lately, but him and Chris Columbus working together. The only sad thing is Joe Dante not being around anymore. But Chris Columbus, I think, might be like a good choice for this. But what do you guys think about Gremlins 3? It's been a long time in coming. Do you think it will be any good?
Modern Hollywood gives me no hope for almost anything. So I'm just my default is just, I don't think so. If you have all the right pieces and parts, that's a good thing. It definitely adds to the chances of it being successful. But we've also seen a lot of the right parts being together, leading to some pretty bad results too. So as just with a lot of these things, I'll believe it when I see it.
What about you, Culture? You think it'll be any good?
I don't know. I mean, Chris Columbus has done some things recently that I would consider questionable. Spielberg, I lost his way a long time ago, and West Side Story proved it. So I mean, I would love to throw hope at this, but do you trust any studio to make good things now?
I can't say I do.
Yeah. And I think that's, one of the bigger reasons why people aren't going to movies anymore.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? Rebellions are built on hope. So don't lose hope.
Yeah, hope and change and, a lot of lies, like the Obama administration.
A lot of hope, a lot of change.
Yeah.
Yep. We are the ones we've been waiting for. It's great.
We have the power, the people.
Yep. Speaking of the people, guys, thank you all so much for being here today. We had a lot to talk about, and we talked about it, but Odin of OMB Reviews, any final thoughts today, and where can people find more of you?
Speaking of Christopher Columbus, he did the Christmas Chronicles 2. He did Pixels back in 2015. I forgot he had even directed that film. And then most recently, the Thursday Murder Club, which I know women liked.
I liked that movie. It was pretty good.
I never saw it, so.
It's a good, cozy mystery.
Sometimes your opinions aren't very good, though, as is the case with Andor.
How
But
dare
anyway,
you,
you can find me over at
Pineapple on Pizza. It's fantastic.
Over on X as well.
I have the best opinions. My opinions are great.
They're the best. I have the best opinions. Now, let me be perfectly clear. Mr. Kadish is an... Anyway, find me over there, and always great to be on and have a lot of fun.
Your opinions mean nothing.
Yes, of course.
Odin, I dare you to watch All's Fair.
I got 10 minutes in.
You did? You tried?
Yeah, because Gary was like, I need y'all to watch one episode. I'm like, I'll try. And then I got 10 minutes in, and I'm like, nope.
No. The acting is so horrible.
I thought that was a reality show, but it's actually like a
Me too. That's what I thought
right?
it was too. And then I'm like, wait, Glenn Close? I'm like, wait, this is an actual show someone made? No.
Yeah, it's a Ryan Murphy show, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah, which is weird because he usually makes good things. Like I'm like the horror story guy. I love like the first 5, 6, 7 seasons of that. Mm-hmm. And usually he doesn't go off the rails right away. And this show is just there are no rails.
Mm-hmm.
Well, considering the cast, though, I mean, come on. Anyway, Culture Casino, thank you so much for being here today. Any final thoughts, and where can people find more of you?
Believe it or not, I have a channel named Culture Casino. It's pretty simple, so please, go over there, check it out. Be sure to check out the new podcast, inspired by terrible politics. It's called "Thank You for Your Attention to This Matter" every Tuesday and Thursday. I would say, it's discount drunk 3PO on politics, but I don't leave enormous amounts of empty conversation. I fill my shows with words, and I don't sit idly there and look at the camera.
Well, it's funny because normally Brian from the Popcast would be doing his political show immediately after this, but instead we're going to be sending you guys over to the Real McCoy podcast, where
I like those
about
guys.
Any Given Sunday. We also have Fluffy Panda for $5. I cannot wait for the woke Indians to boycott Gremlins 3 because Christopher Columbus is directing it. Yes, indeed. The evil man who
I'm surprised that he hasn't been boycotted for his name.
Yeah. And if you make a land acknowledgement, you've already been conquered.
There you go. But guys, I want to give a big shout out to John Yulden, Mephisto's Movie Reviews, Cole Hauser, Ara, Fluffy Panda, Caveat Ties, and Captain GPS for their contributions during the course of the live stream. And to everyone who gifted memberships, we also thank you so much for that. And be sure to tune in next Saturday, same salty time, same salty channel for more Salty Saturdays. And until next time, my friends, stay salty.